99% of my time and effort goes into developing this one skill when it comes to dropshipping, making videos online, and that is content. You've probably heard this before, that we are living in a content economy and attention is the new currency, but a lot of people fail to go a little bit more in depth and what goes into actually making good content and succeeding with it. So in this video, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth into that, what I do to try to get better at it every single day. And at the end, I'm going to have some questions for you. So make sure you stay tuned till the end. So the first and one of the most important things before you even get to making content, editing, is doing your deep dive research. A lot of people fail to do this, and that's why they might not see the success that they intend to see, because they don't do their proper research. The more obsessed you are with your audience and your customer avatar, the more information that you're going to have to be able to leverage that in your creatives. And I'm mainly going to talk about direct response marketing, because that's what you're pretty much doing as a dropshipper. When it comes to dropshipping, and I mentioned this in yesterday's video, you want an instant purchase, an instant response from your customer. After somebody sees the ad, you want them to whip out their card and pay for the product. And you can't just download a video from TikTok, put some captions over it and expect that to work. Although I have seen it work before myself, if you actually want long-term success, you need to be able to do research, and you have to understand how to do it. So there are a lot of ways that you can do research. AI is going to be your best friend here. This is a tool that I use on a daily basis. ChatGPT is my favorite for prompting and asking questions, but doing your deep dive research on forums, Reddit, figuring out where your customer avatar spends the most time and getting obsessed with what they like to do, what age they are, their favorite hobbies, their favorite activities, where do they live. Those are the things that you're going to be able to take and then leverage them when making scripts and when making creatives. And also, don't get fooled. Whenever people say that UGC is the king, there's also a bunch of research that goes into giving your UGC creators the right brief for them to actually use the information that you provide them, for them to make a video that resonates. Marketing that doesn't look like marketing is performing really well right now, and that seems to be the trend. But there's a lot of things that go into it, and that's as simple as finding the right creator and not just giving a beard growth supplement to a woman. You know what I mean? It might seem simple, but I've made that mistake when I was making, not necessarily with beard growth, but the first UGC that I ever purchased, I didn't do enough research, and I wasted $1,000 on getting UGC just because I didn't do my proper research, and the content ended up not resonating with my target customer. Making sure that you do your research, and the more information that you have, the better, because you can leverage all of that into making your ads, making your script. So aside from that, things I'm going to mention here are kind of not in order. They're going to be all over the place. I think number one, the most important thing is doing your research, but then everything else that's behind that is kind of works in synergy. Next thing that goes into content production is your editing. And a lot of people see this as an obstacle because they don't know how to edit. They never use Adobe, they never use CapCut, and they feel like they're bad editors, so they're not going to be able to make a video. But it is really simple. You really don't have to spend that much time and effort learning it. All the tools nowadays are pretty easy to use, and all you have to do is just look up a video on YouTube. I use Adobe Premiere. I pay for their yearly subscription. And at first it's a learning curve, you know, especially with such a sophisticated software like Adobe. I used to have a lot of trouble, and I lacked motivation because every single time I would just have to look up a tutorial, learn something new. How do I cut this part out? How do I make the image smaller? How do I make it bigger? But eventually you figure it out. You know how to put captions over stuff. You know how to edit. You know how to cut it up. And you don't need crazy stuff to make creatives. But the better you get at editing, that's another thing that you can leverage. So that's why every single day I edit videos for the YouTube channel. Honestly, I mean, for these videos, there's not too much that goes into it. But for my creatives, I try to make sure that every single batch is something better. The hook, whatever it might be. And that is going to bleed into the second thing I'm going to talk about, is attention. And in my eyes, attention is consisted of pretty much two things. Number one is your scroll stopper hook. You got to make sure people nowadays, they're just looking at their phones, scrolling. You have to have something that resonates with them within the first 2 to 3 to 5 seconds within your creative. The quicker you're going to be able to reel somebody in, the better. And then the body is where you want people to watch for as long as possible so that you can lead them through a story. So storytelling is really important. I'm trying to get better at storytelling as well with my creatives and with the content that I'm making. I used to think of myself as a bad editor. I hated doing it. I thought always that I'm a bad storyteller, but the things that you tell yourself, they're lies. You can easily just reframe that mindset and start telling yourself, I'm a good editor, I'm amazing at storytelling, and eventually, if you spend time and you actually apply yourself every single day, you're gonna get better at it. I saw a statistic somewhere online that if you spend doing something, a task, for 18 minutes every single day, after a year, you're going to be in like the top 10 or even top 1% out of everybody that does that. So that just puts things into perspective. It really doesn't take that much time. As long as you're improving every single day, eventually you're going to be a master editor and it's not going to seem like a tedious task. I didn't know how to edit at the beginning. That's why I didn't like doing it. But now I'm finding a little bit more enjoyment and fulfillment out of editing videos, and especially editing creatives. Just like the feeling of making a creative, putting it out on Facebook ads, running it as paid ads, and then that working and making money is just a wonderful feeling. So it compounds. Everything compounds. It's not only money that compounds, it's also your knowledge compounds over time. So first, you might not know as much, but then you watch a video, you get better, you get better, you get better. So, yep, editing, hook, being able to grab the attention and maintain it through storytelling, and then kind of leading the person down a path, down a funnel within your creative to make the purchase. So if I were to give you some mindset advice that I try to tell myself, is that don't convince yourself of things that are not true. If you hate editing, don't tell yourself you hate editing. You just probably are not the best at it. And at the beginning, yes, it is a tedious task. Or I don't like making content. I don't want to make YouTube videos. I'll be a fool. Like, if you want to be every master was once a fool. So if you don't go through that foolish stage of looking like a clown, you will never be able to reap the rewards of a master. And I felt like that at the beginning of starting my YouTube channel and starting to post content, worrying about what other people gonna think, and I don't even fuck with those people. So yeah, do your thing. Content is really important. After finding a product, making sure that you produce high quality content is going to be the key, and you're always going to be able to make money if you know how to do storytelling and involve marketing within that. So that's a little quick video. So I have 2 questions for you. Let me know if I should start a newsletter, because I also do want to improve my writing, which then bleeds into storytelling, because you're gonna have to write the script. And I was wondering if anybody would read my newsletter. If so, if I get like 5 comments that I should start one, I'm just gonna put it out, make a little website, sign up, and I'll probably post on there once a week. So e-commerce stuff mainly. And yeah, that is pretty much it. Another question is, what has your experience been with making content and especially making ads? Is it hard for you to find videos for your products? Are you ripping from TikTok? If so, let me know how that has been for you. I'll see you tomorrow. Video every weekday. So make sure you subscribe and watch my $0 to $1,000 per day challenge that I made for the major part of the beginning of the year. Peace.